Hello, one and all, Doc Stone, Chapter 197, A Stony Eden and Its Forbidden Fruit. And huzzah! All of humanity is now immortal! Yay! Now, obviously, that's a bit of an over-exaggeration, but exactly how much of an exaggeration is it really? I mean, if Junior would be eaten by a bear, and then his corpse wasn't found for a couple weeks, there's probably not a whole lot that Medusa can do to revive him. In the same vein, statues that are broken and not repaired quickly enough, they can't be fixed either. That's the whole reason why Taiju and Yuzu infiltrated Tsukusa's army, so they could fix the statues that he'd broken. So there are clearly limits to what the Medusa can actually fix, and we don't actually know if there are any consequences being brought back from the dead. I mean, Hyoga seemed fine this chapter, but he said one line, hunted some pigs, and then fell asleep during Jen's magic act. That all seems very Hyoga-like, but it's not a large enough sample size for us to say definitely whether or not he's, fully healthy, whether he's fully functional or not. I mean, he could be suffering, personality changes. At some point down the road, he can start laughing uncontrollably. He could be suffering memory loss, getting confused over who Suka is because he forgot that she got older, or just general weakness, severe fatigue, just any number of things could happen down the road that are major consequences of him being dead for hours. I mean, seriously, I feel like there has to be some sort of price to pay for literally defying God's will and being brought back from the dead. Though, of course, as Senku would say, God's been dead from science for a very long time. And if we are going to talk about mortality, we can't forget aging. I mean, even Medusa can cure any wound, any illness, anything. It can't cure aging. I mean, can it? Both times Kazuki's been revived, he's commented about how much younger he feels. What if it's more than just his arthritis being cured? What if being petrified and revived again actually rejuvenates the cells in your body, actually adds the years onto your lifespan, even just 1 year? That would be majorly impactful. I mean, I'm not saying Kazuki could live forever if he gets petrified every year, but I'm saying, a person being petrified regularly throughout their lives could end up living to be 200, 300 years old. I definitely think it's possible, and if so, that'd be very, very chaotic and insane. Seriously, imagine everyone on Earth, once everyone's been revived, fighting over the Medusas, fighting to be petrified as often as possible so they can live as long in life as possible. I mean, yeah, a lot of them did fall from the sky, and Senku could probably put new batteries in most of them, but not enough for everyone on Earth. And what's more, you can't actually give Medusa everyone on Earth because they are so freaking dangerous. Seriously, one person mishandles it, they can end up petrifying the entire freaking planet, which, yeah, that'd be bad. That'd be very, very bad. I mean, even if Senku sets up, designated survivors all throughout the planet, in every city in the world to, wake up everyone, that'd still be a major headache, a major hassle, and cause so much damage, so much destruction, and just, stall humanity again and again and again. So, yeah, that'd be a major issue. But the more pressing issue right now, and I think the reason why Tsukasa and Senku are talking in secret right now, is the fact that if Senku's team finds out, oh, we're immortal, we can't die as long as Medusa, they will start doing some very, very suicidal things. I mean, we saw just a couple chapters ago, the entire Kingdom of Science in Corn City charged blindly at Brody and his gang, even though they had freaking assault rifles and were freely mowed down because they believed Medusa could cure any damage to their body. How much more suicidal would they have been if they'd known Medusa could actually cure death as well? I feel like Senku and Tsukasa are going to be very afraid of this happening down the road, and that's why they're talking in secret right now. They don't want everyone else to know about it because it'll make them go crazy. It'll make them basically risk their life and freely throw their life away for the sake of Senku and the Kingdom of Science, simply because they think they can be revived. And while that might be the case most of the time, definitely not all the time. Definitely not all the time. I mean, I think if any of them had been shot in the head, yeah, that would have been game over. That would have been utter and complete game over for them. So, yeah, that'd be bad. That'd be very, very bad. It's also going to be interesting to see how Chrome reacts to this news, because he's listening from the shadows, and that absolutely has to be on purpose for some reason, for some purpose. I mean, is he going to burst in and say, oh, this is super bad, this is so awesome, it's so amazing, we're fine now, we can do whatever we want? Or is he going to realize, the true consequences, the true danger of this? I mean, I could definitely see down the road him doing, like I said, a suicidal attack because he believed that Senku could bring him back from the dead, and that might end up going very, very poorly for him, especially if Hyoga does start showing some side effects moving forward. Also, it seems like Jen is very well aware of the truth about this as well, because, he gave Tsukasa a look. He was able to tell what Tsukasa was feeling when he said that Hyoga was about to be revived. He saw the fear and worry in his eyes, and, then he started doing the whole magic trick, the whole magic act, for everyone to distract them, to keep them focused on him so they wouldn't interfere with Senku and Tsukasa's conversation. So, curious, very, very curious about that. I mean, if anyone were to read Tsukasa's mood and know exactly what he was thinking, knowing exactly what he's feeling right there, it would be Jen. So, curious, very, very curious. I also find it kind of strange that Tsukasa didn't actually warn anyone that Hyoga was dead. I mean, I feel like that'd be, utterly heartbreaking if they revived him and they just fell over onto the ground completely dead. I mean, I mean, I kind of get his reason here. I think he was aware of the reviving properties of the Medusa. He was aware there was a fairly good chance that Hyoga would, come back from the dead. And if that was the case, he didn't want everyone around them to know the truth. He didn't want everyone around him to know that the Medusa was this powerful because, like I said, it could make them do crazy, crazy things. And then back at the start of the chapter, absolutely love this moment we get between Senko and Suka. It's him praising her, him observing all the hard work she's put in throughout the course of these years, and she's blushing, and she's smiling, and she's so proud of herself. It took so much time. It took so much effort, but she did it. She managed to revive someone. She managed to make revival fluid. And then she watches Senko do it in under a day, which, oh, that's gotta be demoralizing. That's gotta be so overwhelmingly demoralizing. Also turns out that apparently Senku did have the platinum on him, so she could have used that method as well, but she just didn't know how, because, Suka is not a scientist. I mean, just her managing to make this method work with a nitric field, that's amazing enough, that's impressive enough, and I'm so proud of her. And then we get 2-week time skip with them making more nitric acid as well as the alcohol they need to turn into vital fluid. And I really wish that had been the entire chapter. Just 2 weeks of these two talking to one another, going through everything Suka's been through over, the last 4, 5, 6 years as she's tried and just survived again and again. I would so love to know more about that. I mean, one thing that's interesting is you can see in Suka's design, she has a knife and a shield. I mean, a knife makes a lot of sense, that's used for a dozen different things, for preparing food and all that. But a shield just like Kohaku, seems to be implying that she's been in combat, that she's been fighting these last couple of years, fighting against wild animals, boars, whatever, that came close to her. And if that's the case, I mean, she could definitely have grown to a strong combatant, a strong fighter in that time, and oh, I would love it. I absolutely freaking love it to see her actually in combat down the road. Her fighting side by side with Kohaku, and oh my god. Kohaku getting revived, Kohaku seeing Suka, realizing that her little sister, her adopted little sister, is growing up, and oh god, Suka's line. I guess I can't exactly ask for a classic Kohaku hug anymore, but she still hugs her. Oh god, they still embrace. It's been so long since they reunited, and it's such a touching moment, seriously. Meanwhile, Senku's just sitting in the background being like, yeah, I don't do well with these touching moments. It just, oh god, it is so precious. It is so overwhelmingly precious. And then everyone else gets woken up again. I guess, Suka only had time to make clothes for Senko and Kohaku. Everyone else is just wearing leaves. Though, of course, she makes a hat for Ryu again. Looks like just a piece of wood that she bent around. But, he's a captain, and a captain needs his captain hat. I freaking love it. Also, weirdly enough, Max and Carlos get woken up. Where have you been? Seriously, where have you two been? I mean, they weren't involved at all in the fight against Stanley. I never saw their stone statues. I mean, I assumed that they were really far away. Senku sent them off to go free the Perseus, go capture the Perseus. No, apparently they've been right here this entire time, and they just didn't fight at all against Stanley. So many questions about that. So very, very many questions about them. Seriously, guys, I need your backstory. I need you to be somewhat useful at some point in this series, because so far you've been utterly and completely useless. I mean, seriously, you let Suka fall off the ropeway when you were riding with her. That was your only job throughout this entire series so far, and you utterly failed at that. I'm very disappointed in both of you. Oh, also, while we're talking about missing people, where exactly are Jinro and Matsukaze? I mean, 16 bottles of Valve were made. Unless my math's wrong, that's enough to wake up everybody, so yeah, they should have been woken up. They just not appear in this chapter. I mean, I was definitely figuring, I wanted to see Jinro meet Suka and say, hey, she's really cute. And then someone say, hey, that's Suka. And he'd be like, oh! I wanted that moment. I wanted him to meet the older Suka and see his reaction to that. Honestly, I just really wanted to see more of their reactions to Suka being older now. I really wanted to see that. Oh well. But anyway, then they wake up Hyoga, the last person. He seems okay. I love they actually wrapped a leaf around his face because he just really, really likes hiding his mouth for whatever reason. It's not a bad-looking mouth. I don't know why he's so afraid of showing it. And oh my gosh, love the blushing Suka right here. When she says, oh, I don't need thank you or anything. And he says, you've done well. Definitely. Oh my god, I love that. I love it. Seriously. Let's not forget, at the start of the series, Hyoga tried to murder Suka. And now he's praising her. Oh my god, I love it. I mean, he definitely doesn't want to be praising her. He's definitely kind of being forced into it. But it's still just an utterly, utterly cute moment, and I freaking love it. And that was the chapter, but this still leaves a whole bunch of questions for what's going to happen next. I mean, we still have no idea what's going to happen with Zeno, Stanley, and his soldiers. That's definitely going to be a conversation. I mean, I think the best possible scenario at this point would be, to wake up Zeno, say, here's some vital fluid. You can go wake up the rest of your soldiers one by one, but we're taking Stanley with us. Once you get South America up and running, then we'll give Stanley back to you. I mean, that makes the most amount of sense, for everyone, because Senko's in South America. He's already here. He needs to actually start building up his city. And if he were just to, leave now, go back to North America, go back to Japan, he'd have to come back to South America sooner or later to start up building the super metal city. So, yeah, I feel like he's going to leave Xeno behind to start building a city that he can run his own way, a city that he can run as a, dictator, tyrant, however much he wants, and the rest of the world just belong to Senku or whoever, ends up building the cities there. I mean, that makes the most amount of sense to me right now. I guess that'll also be how they convince Brody to behave, cooperate with them in Corn City, North America. I mean, Brody did not seem like that bad of a guy, and if Stanley was being threatened, I could definitely see him, going along with helping them form Corn City, helping them build it up from the ground up again. I mean, I'm assuming a lot of damage was done to it over, the last 7 years. Everything was petrified. Speaking of damage, there's still the Perseus. No idea where Stanley might have parked that. I'm assuming pretty far away, and I'm assuming, after 7 years, it's probably undergone quite a bit of damage, so they're going to need a whole lot of repairs, but thankfully, Kasuki is raring and ready to go. Huzzah! And yeah, let me know down below. What are Senku, Tsukasa, Chrome, and Jen gonna do now that they've discovered the key to freaking immortality? How's they gonna change their plan moving forward? How's they gonna change what they do and how they act and how they go about reviving the entire freaking world? I feel like this has to have some sort of major impact, major implication. Just not sure exactly what it is gonna be right now. Are they gonna wake up Xeno and the rest of them? I mean, like I said, they need to leave someone behind in South America, start building a city. Xeno was the most obvious choice. I feel like you could get up and running fairly quickly and get, Stanley back. It definitely does not seem like Senku would take hostages, but that seems like the only way to get everyone, doing what they need to do, get world peace, essentially. And how exactly do you think the world has changed over the last 7 years? I mean, I feel like the moon was overly present in this chapter, especially this last page, so it makes me feel like the Y-Man is plotting something, the Y-Man's planning something. It's almost as if he's saying, the Y-Man has a plan, the Y-Man already has you in his grasp. He's going to control you, he's going to manipulate you somehow, some way. I'm just not sure about that. I mean, the Y-Man would have assumed that, the whole world is petrified, so no one would be waking up again, so society basically restarted back to zero, so he might have gone back to sleep, petrified himself again, or done something. I mean, I've been assuming up to this point the Y-Man is just, a rogue AI or something, but if Medusa does have some sort of de-aging property, it's certainly possible, the Y-Man, is still alive after all these years, being petrified again and again, every day, every couple months, every year, something like that, or maybe just, petrifies himself, walks around for a day, repetrifies himself for a year, and repeats that process over and over again for the last 3,000 freaking years. So that way he can see the world of the future, that way he can see the results of his grand plan to, I don't know, save the Earth, stop global warming, something like that. I'm really not sure, but yeah, link those down below. Be sure to like, subscribe to this video. Until then, peace!